In Twilight of the Idols, Nietzsche makes the provocative case that arguing is a tool used only by the weak. A man resorts to dialectics only when he has no other means to hand. The strong do not need to argue, they simply give commands. Only people who lack power would ever need to resort to argument. This provocative position is part of his bigger attack on reason in philosophy. For Nietzsche, there is no such thing as a will to truth, there is only will to power. Those who claim to search for truth only do so as a sneaky way to attain power. The strong exercise their power by being strong. The weak exercise their power by coming up with arguments and reasons.
I thought that was interesting because I am an argumentative person. And I sort of decided to really evaluate the truth of that statement. And I've come to the conclusion that it's pretty much accurate. Hey, if you like this clip, you might like the full stream, which I do every Sunday, more or less, over on the Pessimist Productions Patreon, link down below. Thank you kindly. Every position I've been put in where I've decided I'm going to argue for a specific thing, it's always because I have no ability to actually affect things directly. Everything I've ever argued for has always been something that if I had the power to just do it through fiat, I would and I could. So I think that there's an accuracy to it. The thing that maybe you could interject into it as like, maybe that's not so accurate, is that even the most powerful people are still going to have other powerful people to contend with. And there's always going to be some scenario where they're going to have to put forth arguments to each other, including if it's just a stalemate, right? If there's two powerful factions and they are trying to either defeat each other in the public space or they're trying to convince each other of the correctness of each other's positions, they're going to resort to argument then, or they're going to resort to argument for the sake of, you know, getting more people on their side. But by and large, argumentation is a tool of the powerless in order to try to assert some sort of power through saying that, like, look, what I want is actually the most rational course of action. And what's being done currently is actually a super irrational course. And the only reason it is being, you know, done in that way is because that's in the interest of the people who currently have power. Because, you know, most of what I have traditionally argued against has been this world that has been created by the powerful in order to control and suppress the rest of the population. And the only recourse we're really given is to put forth argumentation. It seems like everything else is excluded, you know, by the very nature of the game that they've created. Like, we're not allowed to, you know, get Molotov cocktails and burn shit down that we don't agree with. We have to use our words. But the people up there, they don't have to use their words. They can just declare things and enforce them at the end of a bayonet. So I think that ultimately it's kind of hard to argue that Nietzsche is incorrect here. Arguing with people I'll never meet in real life seems like a waste of time, but TJ loves it, so more power to those who enjoy it. Well, I actually did read recently, arguing with people on the internet is a way that people with ADHD get a dopamine fix. So it's actually a form of seeking out that dopamine hit that's so hard to get because there's not enough novelty in the course of, you know, daily grind sort of experiences. And so arguing on the internet can be a way to get that feeling of like, yes, I am right and this other person is wrong. I have ADHD too. I get dopamine from going outside and exploring nature and eating yummy food. I mean, I like yummy food too. Going outside and exploring nature, not so much my bag, but hey, you know, I don't stand in judgment of your weird, you know, nature fetish or whatever. I kind of judge you when you argue too much, lol. I mean, yeah, I get that. That's why I said that. That was the whole implication. Uh-oh, now I'm arguing with Chelsea on the internet. Used to argue a lot, but it seems like people are willing to argue, always have strong positions that are not willing to be talked out of anything. Yeah, that does kind of bother me that so much of online argument in general I mean, I think it is different in real life because, like, when you argue with someone in real life, I feel like there's usually more openness to being convinced. Maybe not always, but usually. Whereas in an online argument, it feels like no one is really even remotely willing to change their minds and are just looking to win the argument, because maybe it's just because they're all searching for the same thing that we are, which is the dopamine hit, the feeling of I am correct, I am right, other people are wrong. So maybe it's just that.